It's exceptionally dangerous.
This is not only stupid advice, but it's dangerous advice.
You people don't get it.
Don't listen to these clowns. They're clowns.
Please don't listen to these people. Hey everybody, you're kicking it with the Homeboys, and this is another episode of Moron Real Estate. My name is Clint Wetherill. As always, here with my partner in crime, Mr. Scott Adams. You ready for this?
Let's get into it.
Let's dive in.
Now, I know they say you can't time the market, and you shouldn't time the market, but these are literally the 3 best times to invest your money. Investing your money during these times are going to give you the highest chances of making money. The number 1 best time to invest is while you're young. Starting pretty much anything while you're young gives you a higher chance of being great at it and making money at it, and it's the same thing with investing. The second best time to invest is when the market is down. During the times when there's a recession, when there's panic in the market, when people are selling their assets, that's going to be one of the best times to add money and do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And the third best time is right now, today. See, sometimes for some of us, we just need to go ahead and get started. And the great thing about the stock market is the longer that you invest, the higher the chances of you making money. If you want to learn more on how to get started, I created 4 classes on these topics. You can get the bundle at the link in my bio.
Right on, man. I think he's been listening to the Homeboys.
Yeah. Smart
we
guy.
literally say the same thing. I mean, so
I'm in love. He speaks the truth. All of those things are things that we preach, and one of them is particularly hard to do, which is to be contrarian, to swim against the current, which is to buy when things are down. You know, natural emotion is when things are down, you want to sell and kind of, hide in the corner like everybody else. And when things
it's hard to do.
When things are going great, you're like, okay, I'm going to invest. Everybody else is making money. And it's very difficult to do. However, those are 3 of the most important things that any investor should pay very close attention to. It's impossible to time a market perfectly. They have floors of these some of the smartest analysts on the planet, out on Wall Street, and those guys can't even time the market. So don't think that you're going to be able to, because you might get lucky, but you can't do it.
Right. And I'm just to throw something else out there, I'm making it, my personal mission to try to really speak to the millennials out there. I think that that's something that financial, literacy is something that I feel like has only gotten worse over time. It was terrible whenever we were younger, and I think it's gotten even worse, now.
And you're not blaming them. You're just saying what was taught to them.
Oh, I think that they've been set on a terrible path.
Right.
And he talks about investing young. It's so important. I thank the Lord that I had a dad that, put me on that path, because if I didn't, I would have never started young like this gentleman is saying to do. But, I really speak to all, the younger generation out there. Invest now. Doesn't have to be a lot. Can be, very little. Put a plan together and invest now. Doing it while you're young is so very vital. We preach real estate. Doesn't have to be real estate. It could be a lot of different things. We believe in real estate. But, yes, get started now.
Yeah, and if you go to the homeboys.com website.
Homeboyspodcast.com.
Homeboyspodcast.com website. We're going to have some savings calculators and a little tab on there that you can get some very basic education on this, and you can see what that power of time does to your money when it's compounding interest. And you can always Google and find this stuff out. Unfortunately, the education system has let you down. It's not your fault. They didn't teach this to you. You've got to educate yourself on it, and you will have true financial freedom and wealth if you pay attention to this and focus on it.
I think our generation let them down too.
We did.
I think that, we, instead of teaching, I feel like, our generation became disconnected as parents, whereas our generation was so much more connected. So I think there was lots of lessons that have not been passed down.
I would argue also that we became disconnected in our generation, and greed became popular during our generation. And instead of passing on knowledge, we decided to bundle it and try to sell it. Click the links below for the education, and then you buy it.
Very true.
And I think a lot of that stuff is gross. And part of what we're trying to do is to give back all of this stuff. We don't charge anyone for anything that we try to pass on. So.
Yeah, get started early. We hear a lot from the younger generation saying, well, why would I save and invest? I should just enjoy now. Trust me, there's plenty of years to enjoy. Scotty and I both invested early, and there's very few people on this earth that go out and have as much fun with their families, creating experiences than us.
And you can do both.
You can do both.
And it doesn't have to be big. It's about building the good habits when you're young. It's not about sacrificing life. You still need life experiences. You got to enjoy your life. I understand that. But set up the habits that will see you through as your income grows over time.
Great clip. Next up.
Couple things. Regardless of where the market may go tomorrow or may not, is this the home that I like, and can I afford it? Do I qualify for it? Mm-hmm. And if I do, then buy it. I believe that rents are going to continue to rise.
Yep.
I believe home prices are going to continue to rise, and I believe interest rates will probably continue to rise too. So if those three things happen and you're renting right now, your rent's going to keep going up. If you buy today, you're going to have a fixed payment.
Yep.
That's not going to continue to increase like your rent will.
Mm-hmm.
Your value will increase. You'll get a return on your investment, and your interest rate is fixed. And so maybe in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe rates come back down. You can refinance and save even more money.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I would be one to say it's still a great time to buy.
Yeah, he's talking about primary residence mostly here, and I would agree 100%. I don't care a lot about the details that he said in terms of your personal house. I'm only speaking in terms of your personal house. The only part of that I cared about is if you can afford it, and I mean afford it. Do not overbuy, over leverage yourself to get into your dream home. Live below your means. It gives you this freedom that you wouldn't believe. But I believe you should buy the house that you want for you and your family. It's less of a financial decision, and I learned a lot of this from Clint. It's less of a financial decision and more of a living the life you want decision. And so, yeah, I agree with him.
I couldn't agree more with what you just said. If you're looking for a place to raise your family, a place to plant your flag, you take investment, out of a big piece of that, and you look for happiness. You look for a place that, that you can be happy, sit around the dinner table with your kids and create memories with. So I'm a big believer in, if you're looking for a place, that to create memories with your family, now is always the best time. However, I disagree with a lot of the things the guy said, because I think that it's a little too optimistic. I believe that rents are going to be stagnant, especially like in our market. We've seen crazy run-ups in rental prices. I think rent prices are going to be stagnant for a while. I don't know that they're going to continue, to go up. They have, and they still are right now. But I think here, your near future outlook that they're going to be stagnant. He also mentioned about rates if they go back down in 3, 4, 5 years. I don't believe that that's the case. I think that rates, may be 10 plus years till you see rates get back into the 2-3% mark. I think that
it's very likely we never see 2%.
You may never see it again.
Yeah.
May never see it again.
It's a real possibility.
So I think that if your plan is to get a house and say, oh well, it's going to go back to 2 or 3%, and then I'll refinance it, I think that that's a bad move, because I don't believe that that's going to happen. And if it does happen, you're talking a very, very long time. And I don't think most people go into buying a house with a 10, 15, 20-year plan. So I'd be very cautious in that. However, I still think it is a good time to buy. Well, I think rates are where they're supposed to be right now. I don't believe that the interest rate hike is necessarily bad. So I wouldn't look backwards and say, oh, I hope I get back to that. Look at this as the norm, and that it could continue to go up, and this could be the best case scenario.
Yeah. So if I since you're breaking down the things that you disagreed with, I'll dive into this pool with you, which is the other thing. He made this assumption that values are just going to go up. That's not a guaranteed, and historically properties appreciate over time. However, we've had such a run up. There could be a pullback for a while. It could remain flat for 10 years. There's a lot that can happen with that. It's not
You got a 20-year plan. It's going to go up.
Over time, historically, there's not a 20-year period where it did not go up. However, to say it so casually is a little dangerous. And then, like Clint said, rates may never come back down past where they are, and that's okay. Rates are amazing right now. Rates are amazing. So anyone who's lived through the last 10 years and that's all they've ever known or seen, you lived through one of the greatest times in history to borrow money. That doesn't mean that right now is bad. It just means you lived through the greatest, and we're still in a great period. So just keep that in mind.
Go backwards. We've been in real estate a combined, 44 years or whatever it is. But go back the last 23, 24 years. I mean, prior to this dipping down, and whenever I got started in real estate, this is where rates were at, and we didn't think anything about it. We were investing, we were going all in, at these rates.
My first loans were at flat 8. So I could do an ARM at 7.5, I think was what it was for the best rates. And I just finished our continuing education for all our licensing for real estate. And one of the test questions was, what were the rates on April 8th, 1981? What a weird date for them to have picked. So
it was like 17%.
Yes. It was 16 point something.
And I know for a fact that you didn't see anything, below 4% through the 90s, even though I wasn't heavily invested in the 90s. Going back to the 70s, I don't know. But, I mean, we're talking, about 42 years that we just know about.
Right.
That, that a lot we've had to experience through or learned about. We didn't really go back through the 70s. It was a completely different time once you get back, past 1980 anyway. Buying patterns changed so much.
Well, monetary policy.
So 42 years that we've not seen, the rates there. So to expect that interest rates to go back, to where it is, I mean, I think that you got to be.
So to summarize, we agree with buying your home, planting your flag. Make sure you do it below your means, but we don't agree with all the assumptions he made. I think they're kind of dangerous, to be honest.
Yep. Next up.
Hey millionaire, I saved up $50,000. What's the fastest way to grow it? Listen closely. I'm going to tell you step by step what I would do. First, go on Zillow and look for homes or apartments for rent. Call and find 4 landlords that will agree to let you sublease their home or apartment on a corporate lease. Then you're going to furnish the units and rent them out on Airbnb. That should cost you roughly around $40,000 for rent, security deposits, and furniture. And make sure to keep aside $10,000 for reserves. And how much can I make on that? Conservatively, you can make on average $3,000 per unit. Dang, so I'd be making $12,000 per month on those 4 units? Yep, just give me a follow to learn how.
If you follow, you need directions to a bankruptcy attorney. This is not a way for sustained wealth. I could do a whole podcast. We could do an hour-long discussion on this, but trying to turn someone else's asset that they worked hard to get and find someone that is willing to let you sublease it, which there's such a very small percentage of the public that would ever let you turn their property into an Airbnb. If there's more money to be made on that property as an Airbnb, the owner's going to do it. And the owner's not going to be okay with someone coming in every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, in and out the whole year, beating up their property. It's just a really ridiculous thing that has caught traction on the internet. And these people that are making it sound so easy, it's exceptionally dangerous, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hurt by it. Do not listen to this. Rental arbitrage is silly. It is not a long-term solution to your financial dreams and wealth. It's stupid. It's horrible advice. Move on, get your own assets, and stop leeching off of other people.
I mean, there's so many things I could go through that make this such a terrible, terrible idea. But one of the ones Clint didn't touch on is the fact that there right now is a war on Airbnb and VRBOs. Don't get me wrong. We just bought 2 in our hometown that we're going to take Airbnb. We're looking at an additional one in Florida right now to add as an Airbnb. They can work. We're looking to buy those. I'm not looking for some landlord to leech off of and try to turn his property. However, there is a war on Airbnb and VRBOs. And if you do this and you sign a master lease with that landlord, and Airbnbs get banned, and you can no longer rent it, you still owe that landlord money every month, and you will be in bankruptcy court. If you owned that asset, there's a lot of things you could do to solve it. You could sell it. You could turn it into a monthly rental. You're in control. This is not only stupid advice, but it's dangerous advice. Don't listen to these clowns. They're clowns. I don't know how this has somehow caught this is a thing. This should not be a thing. I understand if you don't have the money to buy an asset and you want to get into the real estate game, this may sound like a good idea and a way to do it. It is not. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Very dangerous. And we're going to get a million comments, emails, telling us how stupid we are for not being in the rental arbitrage game. You people don't get it. We've been doing this a long time. It's a really, 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 really crappy way to get into real estate, and it's exceptionally dangerous. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Next.
So I could spend $100,000 of my own money and get $6,000 a year extra income, which is a 6% return, not bad. Or I could spend none of my own money because the bank put up the money and get no longer 6% because I had to pay 4% interest. I was collecting 2% on the bank's money. Didn't cost me a thing. And at the end of the day, Marjorie, ask yourself what actually went up. Well, did my collateral go up? Yes. Did my equity go up? Yes, I spent 100. The value went up by 200, so my equity went up by 100,000. Did my rental go up? Yes, the gross rental went up by 6,000. My net rental went up by 2,000 because I had to pay 4,000. So far, everything's gone up. Can you think of one more thing that's gone up? That's probably the most valuable thing
The
of all.
value of your building.
The value of the building went up by 200,000.
Probably your equity, I would say.
Equity went up. The most valuable thing that went up is my tenant appreciation.
Oh, that's
Can you imagine him going to his friend saying, holy smoke, I don't know who you've got as a landlord, but I asked my landlord to spend 100,000 stinking dollars putting in this glass curtain. And for some bizarre reason, he smiled and said, okay. He spent 100,000 on my building and I only have to pay him 6% interest on it. If ever you're going to rent a commercial space from someone, make sure you rent from Dolph. Can you see how everything works in our favor?
It was. I feel like it wasn't clear to most folks what he was really saying in there.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, but the core truth at this is when you own property that's a cash flowing asset, a rental property, whether it's commercial or residential, the bottom line is you get a ton of benefits. It's a whole basket of benefits. That tenant is paying your mortgage down for you. You use their rent to pay down your mortgage. You also make profit per month in rental income. Your building also appreciates. Now, appreciation is never guaranteed, but as we talked about over any 20-year period, historically it's never missed. It happens. You have tax benefits that come with that, big write-offs. So there's a whole basket of things that come with owning real estate. And he's right. Taking care of your tenants, building that that relationship, investing in the properties you own, making sure they stay nice. Those can be generational wealth builders that are passed down year after year after year. And so I'm not going to get into the weeds on a lot of what he said because the way he said it was a little confusing. But at its core, owning cash flowing rental properties has so many benefits. There's money coming at you from every angle. And not only that, but rents go up and your mortgage amount stays the same or goes to zero eventually. So it isn't just a basket of great things that are happening. It's increasing. You don't have to do anything, and yet it increases year after year after year. It's an amazing way to invest.
I'm just grateful I got access to your dementia. I was so confused by the clip. I was just sitting over here. I mean, there was like numbers being thrown around, and you know how I am. It just doesn't compute. I go off a gut feel a lot. Right. But he's a really smart man, people. You need to listen to him. I'm glad that you picked up my ignorance there. I didn't.
You're the smartest. You're the smartest guy in the room. Wherever you go. And
I don't know about that.
I'm a data geek, and I like this stuff. And your eyes gloss over.
I was
and
pretty confused.
You start dreaming about the next investment to build.
But anyhow, all right. Well, that is our show for this week on Moron Real Estate. We thank you for listening to us. We got a little worked up. Rental arbitrage, not our thing. Really bad advice. Please don't listen to these people. Till next time, happy investing.